Intro, take 2, action.
Fit Chick Foodgasm here, guys, and today I'm going to teach you a little bit how to snack and dessert differently, foodgasmically, making your own cottage cheese sundae.
Action.
So cottage cheese. Now stick with me. I know it's not everyone's first pick as a swap out to say ice cream or some of the other frozen yogurts or dessert, but I'm going to show you how to make it just as foodgasmic. I love cottage cheese, and one of my favorite brands is Good Culture. You can get Good Culture in the dairy section by the other cottage cheese, and I love it because of its quality, its thickness, its texture. I also love it because it's really low carb. It's only about 1 gram of fat. So this bowl right here, we're looking at about 17 grams of protein, maybe about 4 or 5 grams of carbohydrates, and about 1.5 grams of fat. Did I not pause? I didn't pause as much. So we've got to make your cottage cheese sundae be as sweet and flavorful and the flavor you want to eat it like you would when you're eating ice cream or another sundae. So let's start here with the way you'd sweeten it and flavor it. And yes, you can flavor it to the way you want to flavor it. I have some sweeteners here that are more natural sweeteners. So here's some of the ones I recommend. New Naturals is a brand that I recommend you can sweeten almost anything with. Something that's solid, something that's drinks, and what would a sundae be without chocolate syrup? So this New Natural cocoa syrup is a favorite of mine, and I love to put it over my cottage cheese with berries or just over berries. I also love, this is Skinny Syrup's agave and sweetener blend. They also have a coconut flavor if you like coconut. And then we also have powdered stevia and granulated stevia and liquid stevia that also comes in flavors. So if you just want to sweeten it, you could sweeten it with something like Sweet Leaf Sweet Drops. And they also have it in chocolate. They have it in coconut and caramel. But you can also use things like extract. So here I have caramel and cocoa extract. So if you wanted more of a caramel or chocolate, you could make that flavor. You could do the same thing with berries, the same thing with lemon. I also have now pomegranate blueberry. So you can kind of flavor it your own way. If you have little Truvia or stevia packets, you can put that in as well. I personally like to use New Natural syrups and either just regular or cocoa, and I like to make mine sometimes cocoa, caramel, butterscotch flavor by adding little extracts or other flavorings and syrups. Is that better? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now we're just talking about the
Action.
So we have now learned how to sweeten and flavor your sundae, okay? And any type of flavor you like, there's a sweetener or a flavoring that you can use that is better quality and probably sugar-free. So let's talk about how to add and build on to your cottage cheese sundae. And so we're gonna talk about fruit, okay? I love this fruit that you see in front of me, and you'll notice that most of the fruit you see here is low glycemic fruit, okay? So I have a bunch of berries, raspberries, blueberries, strawberries, blackberries. I have some peaches, some cut up apples. I have some plums. You can do almost any type of fruit, but usually when you add a berry, it's lower glycemic, so it's gonna be lower sugar. And berries and chocolate, berries and cream just make a really good sundae. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some raspberries to mine, okay? These raspberries and blackberries are very low carb. They're also high in fiber. You can eat a lot of berries for the same amount of carbs that you can only have a fraction of some other fruits that are higher glycemic, like watermelon and stuff like that. So already starting to look like a sundae here. So choose the fruit you like. If you want it to be more of a caramel and cinnamon, you can do that with apple or peaches or apricot. If you wanted to do berries and cream, berries and vanilla, you can do that. If you wanted to do chocolate and cherry, you could. If you wanted to do chocolate and strawberry, you could. Any way you would build a sundae, or think of like how you'd build a waffle or a brunch, do that to your cottage cheese sundae. I did berries, so let's move on to ways that we can top it with, okay? I don't know if that was good, but so think of some of the other ways you really like to dress a sundae. Are the toppings crunchy? Are they sweet? Do they have nuts in it? Let me walk you through some ways that you can dress up your cottage cheese sundae much like you would a traditional sundae, but a little more healthy. Let's start with like protein. Many of you have protein. Take a favorite flavored protein. For example, this one here is caramel. I particularly like caramel, caramels and cream, caramel and chocolate, caramel and vanilla. If you want to bump up the protein, you dust a little bit of this on top, or you can mix it in and there you have caramel flavor. Another way is to add nuts. So another way to get your crunch in is nuts. I have here some shaved almonds, I have some walnuts. You can buy them diced, you can just crumble it on top so you have some crunch, you have some healthy fats, still really low carb. And then you can do some really healthful cereals, some whole grain, sprouted grain cereals. So yes, you can add a little bit of that on top. One of my favorite crunches is Ezekiel cereal. I love this, okay? Really low in sugar. As a matter of fact, it has 0 sugar, okay? But it's a sprouted grain. And if you're gonna do grain, do something like a Food for Life Ezekiel cereal. Another thing is you can do cacao powder or you can do cocoa powder, okay? So cacao is a superfood. It's also really natural. It's raw and unprocessed, so I recommend cacao in drinks and desserts, but definitely if you want to dust it on top of something like strawberries or raspberries or something like that. Also, if you're a coconut fan, unsweetened coconut chips or even sweetened coconut flakes, okay? So that's a good way to get the crunch. It's also relatively healthy. You can do stuff like flavored chia seeds. So here's a vanilla. Here's actually caramel vanilla chia flax blend. You can do stuff like almond butter. You can even do stuff like, you like peanut butter. You can do powdered peanut butter and you can sprinkle it on top, or you can mix it in. If you like cinnamon, do some cinnamon. If you like the whole caramel, cinnamon, pumpkin, you can do a pumpkin spice blend. And last but not least, my absolute favorite, I love the Chalk Zero brand. Chalk Zero is a brand that also has a line of syrups, but chocolates, all the way from milk chocolate all the way to 92% dark. My favorite is 70, and they come in individually wrapped packages. And the best part is that they're 1 net carb. So I like chocolate chunks. I like dark chocolate chunks. And so I like to top my sundae with dark chocolate that I don't have to worry about being sugary or really carb. So let's dress a cottage cheese sundae. Okay.
Now, action.
So it's time for me to dress a cottage cheese sundae. I've started off with berries. I love berries. Start off with raspberries. I also love shaved almonds, so I'm just going to top it with some almonds. Okay, and you can mix and match your nuts. You can mix and match your cereal, mix and match it all. There are no rules. However you want to dress this. Just keep in mind being cognizant of what you're putting onto it, just like what are you putting into your body. So what was my next thing? I really like Ezekiel crunchy cereal, so I'm going to put some of that on top. Look at that. It's already starting to look like really Instagram ready, and all we did was sprinkle. And last but not least is I love my Chalk Zero 1 carb chocolate, and so I'm going to put that on top. Okay, and I love chocolate syrup, so I'm going to take my New Naturals cocoa syrup and I'm going to drizzle the top. And there you have it. There is your Foodgasmic cottage cheese sundae. Here's your healthy swap. This is what it looks like. You can dress up your cottage cheese however you want. Berries, natural stevia sweetener, cocoa syrup, cinnamon, protein powder, cereals, nuts, coconut chips, anything you can think of that you'd probably put in a smoothie or that you would top in a Kai bowl with or something like that. Dress up your cottage cheese, make it a sundae. Okay.
Are you gonna eat?
Yeah, I guess I should, right?
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah. Tell me when to go.
Go ahead.
Right, see how this tastes. It tastes a little too good to be true. I'm getting chocolate, cherry, crunch, sweet, soft, creamy, all in one. Can you imagine how many of these you can eat to get to the same calorie and carb count as ice cream? Like, have a Sunday party.
Alright, so
Okay.
action.
So that's how you build your own cottage cheese sundae. Make it your own, foodgasmic and flavorful, and follow me on Instagram and Facebook at FitChick Foodgasm for more foodgasms.